Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Profit Talk. As the name might imply, we do this every single week. We do this Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That is 7:30 on the West Coast, 10:30 on the East Coast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Very first Yes, that is the very first Wednesday of the new year. Welcome to the seventh, first full week of the year. I hope everyone's having a wonderful January so far. Let's talk about one of my favorite topics. Now that the year's over, you have a fourth and final estimated tax payment to make. It's not only the most important one, but in my mind, I think it's the easiest one to do. And that's because, unlike the other three, you're not really estimating your income. You're going to know what it is. Let's go ahead and get my visual aids happening here. Wrapping up 2025 with your best estimated tax payment possible. This is like to reach out and help private physicians with best practices to um, keep their taxes low and cash flow high. But this is good advice for basically anybody running a small business. If you're running a small business, you don't have somebody standing over you and babysitting your payroll. You have to pay your own taxes. And to do that, there are four estimated tax payments deadlines each year. They are, once again, April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and the final one is January 15th. And guess what's coming in 8 days? That fourth and final estimated tax payment deadline. It's the only one based on actual figures instead of projected income. That means if you get on the ball or you get your bookkeeper on the ball, um, basically you have to know what all the transactions are categorized as for tax year 2025 and have that completely done. They need a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. Once you have those two things, you are basically ready to go to do a business tax return and also to get a good, accurate estimated tax payment advisory. So, whether you're doing that for yourself or you have somebody assisting you, you need, and I'm saying drop dead deadline of January 9th. That is basically to get your profit and loss. So let's say that you're fairly new in business and you got a bookkeeper and then you're using a separate tax preparer. But that tax preparer may or may not be doing estimated advice for you. I noticed that a lot of people come to me and they basically have been told by their previous accountant to use those four vouchers that the tax software came up with and pay that each of the 4 quarters. Well, the thing is, I believe that that doesn't work very well because it's not based on actual figures. I would say there's a seasonality in any business, some significantly more than others. Cold and flu season might actually make your business a little bit higher as a medical professional, for example. So you may or may not be scaling more at the end of the year or making significantly more money than you did in 2024. You paid the same estimated taxes you did last year. You may be in compliance with the law, but it might be far short of your actual tax liability. And I consider the bullseye within $500. If you can do that, basically you're styling, and you should be looking forward to filing your taxes as a measure of the metrics of your business and not dreading it as a trip to the bank to suck out all your savings and basically want to scoop out your own eyes. So, and that's why if you do have a bookkeeper, I would get on them. Friday is January 9th. So after that, of course, a weekend begins. You really ought to have your financials by then. It's possible. We actually have financials out well before the 10th for over 2 dozen clients. So I know it's not only possible, but doable. So anyway, tell them you got to have it. Okay. Calculate your tax for 2025. One method, of course, is that there are online calculators. And in fact, in this age of AI, you might be able to ask whatever you're using to give you some help with that too. But you got to keep some things in mind. One thing is artificial intelligence makes mistakes. Even though it's basically using the World Wide Web of information, there is no substitute for actual knowledge of the tax code. So, um, Best method is, of course, get help. And I've written here, have we met? Basically, this is what we do here at Owings LLC. And it's one of my happiest times of year, even though it's very busy. I'm helping people to save hundreds of dollars in underpayment penalties by getting these tax payments made during the estimated tax payment deadlines. Anybody that's been with me for at least a couple of years, basically, as I've said before, looks forward to tax season because they don't owe thousands and thousands of dollars every year. They've been paying as they go and keeping that straightened. And for that reason, they're actually looking forward to the filing as a measure of how well they did in the year. You get within $500 of your actual tax liability when your 1040 is filed, and you have zero stress. And that can be $500 refund too. It's one side or other of that bullseye. Here are the reasons why this is important. One, good reason. You should pay your expenses in the period they are incurred. This is actually an accounting principle that they taught us in our undergrad stuff. And they call this the matching principle. In the period in which you incur an expense, you should be counting that expense against the period in which you earned the revenue that created it. Okay, so that's what that means. You should pay expenses in the period um, that they come up. That's just good practice. Better reason, paying as you go keeps the room in your mind tidy. What I mean by this is basically everyone does this. We have 75,000 thoughts a day, and almost all of them are reruns. And this time of year, I'm putting this in your mind right now. Uh, you're thinking about taxes, you're thinking about how you've done, you're wondering possibly what your cash flow situation looks like, particularly if you're not getting the kind of help you need with your business. So these are the kind of things that basically clutter up your conscious mind, and this disturbs your subconscious, throws your whole equilibrium off, and just basically makes you a less healthy person. So the best reason of all is that paying taxes each of the four quarterly deadlines avoids underpayment penalties. Yes, the IRS's favorite weapon or form of punishment for non-compliance. They don't stand over you with a cattle prod. They're not whipping you. They just hit you in the wallet. And if you pay all of your, let's say, 20 or $30,000 of tax, when you file your tax return in April, you're going to see a line on your return if you're accounting software is any good at all, it's going to say underpayment penalties. And it's next to the amount you owe. And that can easily be four figures, high four figures, even, I've seen. And the way to avoid that is to pay as you go. So, um, again, I can't stress enough how important the January 15th deadline is because you actually know how you did. You're not guessing your income. You now know exactly what your December was like, and you can calculate your taxes. And if you have any difficulty with the concept of online calculation, a lot goes into that. Are you married? Does your spouse work? Does he or she have W-2s? Maybe they have a side hustle and they do their own business. A lot of things go into that. What about your deductions? Do you have enough in deductions to actually write off your mortgage interest plus charitables? It's difficult with tax reform because they've doubled the standard deduction and eliminated exemptions, but some people have it, and it's important to know whether or not you do. When we do a tax return for someone here, we definitely weigh the difference. And if your itemized deductions are going to be higher than your standard deduction, we're going to make sure you get it because the less tax you pay, the happier you are. So, with that, I'm probably going to touch on this subject one more time because next Monday is the 14th, and that'll be the day before the deadline. But for now, let me stress the importance of getting a good profit and loss statement and balance sheet. Today's the 7th. Get it this week. If your bookkeeper's making excuses, tell them that their job depends on it, whatever it takes. But get your numbers and get yourself a good estimate and make the payment. How do you make the payment? Google or search engine, whatever you like, Bing, I don't care. But the term is IRS direct pay. Okay. If you Google that and go to pay individual tax, it will take you to a blue make a payment button. You go on there and you make estimated tax for tax period 2025 and make that payment and get it done. You have until the 15th. And Don't say I didn't warn you. So until next week, have an amazing rest of the week. And if you have a chance today, do something randomly kind for a stranger. So until next time, so long, and we will